Hey, I'm Scott Allen Miller. This is Sheep Guarding Llama. It is the 2nd of October, 2020, and today I'm doing my first ever recording on a OnePlus 8 5G, which we just got set up today. So today, wow, these birds are crazy today. Today is the Dance of the Phones Day, as I like to call it. And that is, we have everybody shifting phones pretty much. We had this phone arrived yesterday. We did not have a chance to get it set up because we got to do a bunch of SIM card changes. So the first piece was we got a new line for Luciana. She's never had a phone before. She's had a phone, but she's never had a phone line and number. So she got a new line so that she's able to have internet when she's away from the house, which we think is important at this point. Liesel's had it for a long time, but the girls are pretty much always together. So it's always been that they kind of shared it, and they could always hotspot and stuff. But this is a little bit different. She's old enough now that she really needs to have her own line. Plus, then she can use Telegram and she can text. There's a bunch of things that you can't do without your own phone number. So that's gotten important. And now they both have data. So if they're out doing stuff, they can play games online together. They can do them separately, just and not interfere with each other's network and run down one battery super fast. Just a lot of reasons it's time for her to have one. Plus, it gave us 50% off of a new phone, this one. So Luciana just added the phone number to her existing iPhone 6 Plus. Now, Liesel had the oldest phone by far. We figured out yesterday it's the iPhone 5S, and it's the one that I got after my old 5S went into the lagoon in Panama. I believe it was a 5S that I had then. That might have been a 5. That's the one that originally the screen had shattered. We got it fixed all while in Panama. Then it went into a lagoon, and no phone was waterproof back then. It was toast. But it was right at the end of our time in Panama, and there is no Apple store or anything like an Apple store in Panama, at least not 5 years ago. So we came back. I was in the States. The first thing we did is grab a new phone. That's the 5S that we then took to Nicaragua the first time. It's the one that it was my phone when we were in Greece. It was my phone when we were in Romania. And then in late 2016, when I got the 7 Plus, which is currently Dominica's phone, Liesel then got the 5S, and that's how long she's had it. So Liesel's phone is a 6-year-old model, 5 years old that we've owned it, and she has had it for 4 years, which if you do the math, I had it for 1 to 2 years and destroyed it twice, and Liesel's now had it for 4 years, and it's still perfect. So maybe that tells you something. Anyway, so her phone needs to be replaced because hers is so old that a lot of things that she wants to do no longer work on it. My father's iPhone 4 is no longer completely working. So he is getting Liesel's 5S. Liesel is getting my Samsung S9, which has been great, but I've had for 2.5 years and is about a 3-year-old phone, which is hard to believe that it's a 3-year-old phone. It feels so new, but we're just a family that moves pretty slowly on phones, which is good given how many we have. But it was decided that Liesel needed that because hers was just so old. Luciana's is a higher end model and 1 generation newer than Liesel's. So, and we haven't owned it as long. Dominica likes her 7 and does not really want to move to Android, so she decided to stay with her 7 Plus instead of moving up. So that is how the shuffle is happening. So I'm getting the new one that we're on, which is the OnePlus 8 5G. And then Liesel is getting mine, and Luciana is getting the new number. Dominica is staying exactly the same, and Dad is getting Liesel's old phone. So, wow, that was a lot that we had to do today. So during the day, there was a lot of transferring data, transferring SIM cards, setting up numbers, and doing all that stuff. But by the end of the day, all the phones were set up and working. And Liesel's new case for her phone came today, because I never use a case. And so she got that. So we didn't want her to start using it until she had a case, because the phones do get dropped, and it is quite a bit slipperier and bigger than the phone that she's used to. So it's going to be a little bit harder for her to deal with. We got a new case for Luciana just because she's not getting a new phone. Liesel's getting a new case and a new phone. And Luciana's like, I want a new case. Absolutely, just getting her a new case. Plus her old one was nothing special. So that comes probably over the weekend. She's really looking forward to that. Luciana also did get some Funko Pops that she ordered. She's been really looking forward to those. They're How to Train Your Dragon Funko Pops. Those arrived today. She's been loving that. And then, so the OnePlus 8, I've only been able to use it a little bit. I'm still on my first charge, but so far I am loving it. It's barely bigger than the Galaxy S9. When I'm holding it, I don't really notice that it's larger. It is larger, but I don't really notice it. But when I'm using it, I do notice that the screen is bigger. I see more it's a higher resolution, faster refresh screen. It is smooth. It is really noticeable that it's got a newer CPU. It's the Snapdragon's 965. It's 8 gigs of RAM. I believe my old one was 6. My old one was 64 gigs of storage. This one's 128 gigs of storage. This one has 4 cameras instead of 2. I don't know how much I'll use the other cameras, but the 2 should be a step up. We're going to see how that is. This is my very first video being recorded with this, so I decided to just do the daily update with the phone so that we could get an idea of what it looks like cranked up on the front camera. And those are the important bits. I was able to transfer everything over, went really smoothly coming from the S9. So I'm really looking forward to using it. And Alan has had this exact phone, or no, he has the Pro 5G that he's had because I recommended it for several months, maybe as much as like 6 months, because he needed to move to something that would be easy to support and work in Nicaragua. And this is the one he went with, and he loves it. So I was really confident going with this one as well because he had used it firsthand and got the same deal from T-Mobile that we did. So that was the big thing going on today, along with us getting Lula ready because she is going off to what we hope is her permanent home tomorrow. She has an adoption test trial, like 72 hours, where we drop her off and she spends time with her new family and they see, how it goes. And if everything goes well, they just keep her. So tomorrow morning at about 9 o'clock, we are saying goodbye to Lula, potentially for forever, as she heads off to her new home, which is incredibly sad for all of us because we absolutely love her. And I've said this over and over again, right? She's so sweet and so wonderful, and we love her so much. And it's so sad what's happened to her in the past, and it's so sad that she has to go through the foster system, and so sad that 2 adoptions have fallen through. She doesn't know about the one, obviously. But we're really hopeful that this one takes, that this is the right family for her. We did speak to them a bit last night, and it's a older couple who are retired but not quite retirement age. They're in their 60s, but not quite to the age of needing to retire. So they're young enough to be able to deal with a dog really easily, but because they're retired, they're home full-time, both of them. They have no kids at home anymore. They do have grandkids, but they're little and not there that often. They like to travel, but they travel by like RV kind of thing. So Lula will be able to go and always be with them. So it's exactly what she needs. Someone who's always around, but a slow pace of life, no kids, no other dogs or animals. And they were very understanding of her being abused, of her being older. Their last dog they kept until he was 19. So they're really used to dealing with elderly dogs and their problems. They understand that they get scared and blind and need special care and are ready to help her with all those things. It sounds like the perfect situation. So we're very hopeful that everything goes well for her. All of us are sad that we're not going to see her anymore if this goes well. Even Luciana is, I don't want her to leave, but Lula needs a better situation. And I don't know if you can see them because this has been 48 hours, but there was a dog fight the other night and I got all across my neck, blood drawn and down my arm because I had to get in between the dogs to pull them apart. And it's not teeth, it was claws, but it was a lot. It was quite bad. And Lula was bleeding from her face. The whole thing was terrible and really reminded us that there's just no way we can consider keeping Lula no matter how much we love her. It's just not safe for her, and it's very stressful for the other dogs, and it just isn't fair to any of them. There has to be a better solution, and that's what we're working on. So It is what it is. Tonight after work, we did game night. Not a very big one. We started at 8 o'clock, went to about 11, maybe 11:30 at the latest. Played a little bit of Drawful and Fibbage from the Jackbox games. Played a bit of Among Us. We were supposed to have several people, but a whole bunch of people bailed. So it really was just Alan and Brian and Mariel, his wife, and Maggie, and then Luciana and I played, and most of us not at the same time. So it was only about 3 to 5 people at any given time, but we had a nice evening. It was fun, and that's about it. I'll see everybody tomorrow.